Time for a new car. Well, at least a new car video anyway. This is a 2000 Chrysler Cirrus that I bought for $250 from the owner. And the reason that they got it so cheap is because the ball joint failed while they were driving it. Pulled the CV shaft out too. But anybody who's seen any videos on these lower control arm replacements on the Chrysler Cirrus knows how much of a pain in the butt they can be. Now, I've watched more than a few of them on YouTube, and there's one common theme that I see people doing. They leave stuff in the way. A lot of them don't take the CV shaft out, which is easy enough. I brought my tools along to do that. It's just a single nut there, and then you pop the CV shaft out of the knuckle and get it out of your way. They leave the strut in, which, you know, I'm probably going to do myself, but they don't really try to get the problem out of the way. So that's what I'm going to be working on right now, is getting the car in the air off of this pallet and start unbolting stuff. Okay, after about half an hour of fiddling around and taking my time in the nice cold snow, I got the old ball joint out, sitting right there. Got the CV shaft out, got the tie rod disconnected. Now I only have the sway bar end link and the two control arm mounts to take out. The control arm mounts are going to be a bit of a headache because I can't see the bolt on the back of there, so I can't figure out exactly what size wrench I need on that nut. And then, well, I'm sure you've seen how much of a pain that one can be. But a lot of people fight with this one. They put an Allen in it, they sit there and they, you know, I've had very bad luck with Allens in the past, so I thought it'd be best not to have to worry about it. So I'm going to cheat. I already bought another sway bar end link when I bought the control arms because I knew I was going to have to do this job. So I figured, why waste time fighting with it? Just get it done quickly. Wunderbar, it's out. Okay. A couple of things that I've learned doing this that I haven't actually heard or seen the other people doing. One of the things, drop the engine cradle. It's 3 bolts, 15 millimeters. Get it down so that you can pry it down with a breaker bar or a pry bar or something. Get access to the nut for that part that goes into this cup here. Makes it so much easier to deal with, believe me. And then I never saw anyone show how they got that side out. The bolt that goes through here. It's a nice long bastard that hits right into the transmission. What I did was I pushed the control arm that way, pushed the control arm that way into the socket, which gave me just enough room that when I pried down on the cradle itself, I was able to slip the bolt out towards the front and driver's side of the car. So next time, if somebody's fighting with it, that's an option to try. And yeah, I already did grind off the top of this sway bar end link, and I'll be replacing that before I put the new control arm in. Well, I got further on the Cirrus. The tire's back on, obviously. There's only 3 lug nuts because the lug nuts for the tire that was there are gone, and it's a steel rim, not an alloy rim, because when the ball joint failed, the brake rotor took out the inside of the rim and caused an air leak. Anyway, I'm changing the thermostat on it because it has no heat, and I happened to find an aftermarket pump in line with the heater core. So that might be why I had no heat, because that was disconnected. Somebody put an alligator clip for the ground and wire morettes onto the wires to hold the fuse in line. Don't do that. Don't ever use wire morettes on automotive applications. That is a bad thing. Don't do that. Anyway, I changed the thermostat. To get that out, you got to take the throttle and kickdown cable loose, the EGR valve off, and I would not recommend that without a good ratchet, an 8-inch extension or a 6-inch, whatever this is, and a universal joint, and then they're 8mm. The bolts holding the thermostat housing on, there's 3 of them. Here's the top one. There's another one over here, another one in the back. Those are 12 millimeter, and this wire keeper is held on with a 13 millimeter, but it doesn't actually go into the block. You can just leave that one in if you really want to be adventurous. You don't have to drain the radiator if you don't want to. We can make a big mess. Yeah, that's where I am now on the Cirrus. So yeah, further updates to come. Okay, anybody who's ever had problems with the cable on your Cirrus not opening the trunk, um, the latch mechanism is operated by this little arm right here, and when it gets pushed in, the latch pops. Now, the only thing that pops it is this little mechanism right here. This side comes over with the cable, as you can see down here, gets pulled over and pushes the arm. This piece, though, if the camera will focus, this piece can move up and down. So if you ever have a problem with your trunk nut opening, it's probably pushed down. Just crawl through your back seat, because it does open. Come up here to this. There's a little access hole in the plastic cover right there. Just reach in, push it up, and there you go. Problem solved. Oh, another update for the Cirrus. Came out to start it today and it wouldn't start. Turns out either the fuel pump or I know the fuel filter was clogged, but not sure if the fuel pump is bad or not, so I'm just going to replace it anyway. So yeah, that'll be another thing that gets replaced on this car. I don't know why it took me this long before I started worrying about the brakes, but they were starting to make noise, and I wonder why. The meat is pretty much all gone off of these. This was the driver's side. I haven't done the passenger side. The passenger side started making noise first. You can get a sense of just how long it's been since these have been changed. Now, I'm not doing the rotors right now, but I'm going to reorder a new set of pads and do the rotors at the same time. That way this will have new brakes on the front. Might even do the back. Don't know yet. We'll see. Well, I'm going to at least do the shoes. Don't know if I'm going to do the drums, though. And this is why you should never just look at the outside brake pads on a car. That's the outside pad. Obviously, it's worn away. Needs to be changed. But this is the inside pad. This discoloration here is from temperature. You can see what it was doing to the rotor. It's not gouged really deep, but right here you can see there's a chunk missing out of the face because there should not be rust on the braking surface. So these rotors are going to be replaced, and when I get the new pads, it'll be replaced. All these rotors will be replaced when I get new pads, but right now this is just an, oh my god, I gotta have brakes, brake job. So yeah.